President Trump looking to do what Washington politicians have always promised, but failed to deliver: fix bad trade deals. Within the next month, his top trade team will kick off the process to renegotiate again the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, the USMCA. Again, that was what was cobbled together during his first administration. This time around, the U.S. is expected to push its northern and southern neighbors for a better deal on automobiles, looking to shift more North American production into the United States. And President Trump will keep pressing Mexico to fight drug trafficking at the border. So tariffs over fentanyl could continue regardless. Steve, where does this go? Larry Kudlow thinks that there will broadly be a much better deal with, in particular, Canada, that the kind of stalemate that we're looking at right now will be resolved.
Well, you're taking a bad situation and try to make it a little better. Remember, tariff is a tax. We developed very sophisticated supply chains with Canada and Mexico, which benefited all countries. And that's been disrupted by all the uncertainty now, 50% on aluminum or steel or whatever. And so if they can get some sanity back to that, that would be to the good. But in terms of the quicker they do it, the better. But, remember, they're saying Japan, only 15%. That is a wedge. What they forget is a tariff is a wedge between buyers and sellers, producers and consumers. And the more wedge you have, the more it's going to hurt the economy. So the only question in my mind is, how damaging will it be?
It's a good time to get something done with Canada and Mexico, because I'm watching what's happening with India. And I mean, the president posted this morning about India. It sounds like he's sort of giving up on that relationship. Russia, China. So you've got Canada and Mexico on your doorstep. I think Sheinbaum wants to deal. She's shown every indication she wants to deal. I think Carney's in the best position he's been in to deal, because he's now not trying to win an election. He can actually get something done. I don't think it's going to satisfy. I think there's going to be wedges all over the place in this deal. I'm sorry to say that, Steve, but I would just like to see it get done so that you can resolve the uncertainty with two allied trading partners and build, we need to build economic strength. I think we've got the start of it with the finish of the big, beautiful bill and the tax incentives. We need it with our biggest trading partners. I don't think it's going to be as free tradey as NAFTA was or even as USMCA was. I don't really care, as long as it's settled and it's done and we can start building strength, because we're going to need a lot of economic might in the years ahead, given how other big players around the globe are aligning right now.
I just want to jump in there and say these are parallel issues, the tariff issue and the renegotiation of USMCA, that are happening at the same time. They're not directly or causally linked in the sense that this renegotiation is happening as a result of the fact that the Supreme Court's going to review the tariffs. But it does make me think that as the president looks at this, and he's said many times he's going to look at it, there's a 6-year window, they got to get it done by 2026, that he is going to think about what could potentially happen at the Supreme Court level, and he's going to incorporate some of that into this. To your point, Brian, of what you're saying. I mean, you've got to remember, these are our two largest trading partners. 80% of Mexico's goods come here. And the president, whether or not tariffs get to stay in place or not, is still, outraged about the fentanyl coming across the northern border and the southern border. Huge issue that we have with those two countries. So I think that you made the point the other day, the national security tariffs would be a way to rewrite things with other countries. This isn't like that specifically, but it gives him an opportunity. It's another
non-IEEPA tool, which could get struck down by the Supreme Court, in which case you got to have tools like that. This is one of them. Yeah.
And in terms of the whole trade thing, I wish somebody in the administration would start connecting dots about national security. India should be a key ally against China. They've had very serious border disputes in the past, gone to war at least twice over disputed borders. We need them on our side.
Which Trump has helped solve, by the way.
Not on so much the India thing with India versus China.
Pakistan, India.
Pakistan. Yeah. But in terms of India as an ally, that's critical. And I hate to have us hurt India. We can have a good trade deal without 50% tariffs.
Yeah, agreed. And if you look at what's happened suddenly between the U.S. and India, this is all over Russian oil because.
And he won't put the tariffs on China over
Right.
Russian oil.
Right.
Hello, that's what irks
Very
the
interesting.
Indians.
Yeah.
You're picking on us, but what about China? Oh,
But-
you fear China more than India? Not good.
Just, I'm not defending either
Well, you do
side.
fear
The
China more
tariffs-
than India. I mean,
The tariffs on China are
dangerous.
already really high, and so India's come up to that sort of par level. If you push China too far, your talks could break down before November 10th. I'm just putting it out there.
we've got more leverage over India than China. That's just obvious, right? I mean, you're going to deal
Yes.
with them differently based on the leverage that you have. India doesn't like it. I totally agree with you, but I can't say India's been saintly in this process either.
Well,
especially with the way that they're
but
flirting
guess what?
with
If
Russia and
India were
China.
simply to say, okay, fine, we won't buy Russian oil, then guess what? The tariffs against them would disappear. This is all about trying to not let them fund Putin's war.
Right.
And of course, if Putin can sell oil to India, then that funds his war.
And also, these tariffs going into effect, you've got Trump saying he talked to Putin, I believe it was on Monday, and the talks are going well, and they're going to speak again. I wouldn't be surprised if they're feeling some of that pinch from India.
There was a story posted, and I want to just, before we go, talk about the tariffs just in raw numbers. Zero Hedge posted a story last night, and it kind of summed up what I've been trying to hammer home, and it did it a lot better than I've been able to do it. And the headline is, Trump's tariffs go from terrifying to indispensable to prevent a bond market crash. That there, again, this administration has been, these are not temporary taxes. This is money that at every turn, the president, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, and people in the administration brag about. They're really stoked about the amount of money that's coming in.
It's
going to be
amazing.
$400 billion a year. So far, Scott Bessent put this on X the other day. It's more than $180 billion this fiscal year. It was, what, $31 billion just in the month of August. That is a new record high. You cannot pull the rug out from under our lenders at this point. We are in a fiscal hellhole in terms of our national debt and how much we pay in interest on it every month. It's $100 billion in interest on average so far this year. We're going to hit, it's going to be more than $1.2 trillion just in interest on the national debt this year. This is money that we need. But again, the bond market's like, okay, you take that money away, you're going to have a problem with us lending to you.
No, they won't if we have a strong economy. I never thought a Republican administration would boast that they're having a $4 trillion tax increase over the next 10 years, which is what they say they're going to raise from tariffs. Tariffs are taxes. As Warren Buffett said, that money's not being paid by the tooth fairy. At least half of it's coming out of the pockets of the American people. And Republicans boasting about taking $2 trillion plus out of the pockets of the American people, not a good thing. The way you deal with deficits, in addition to a little bit of spending restraint, is growing the economy. That's how we've gotten out of every debt hole in the past. You grow the economy, which they're trying to do with the big, beautiful tax bill. Hopefully there'll be new tax cuts coming. Huge deregulation, which doesn't get much publicity, but what Zeldin and others are doing, absolutely critical for our future. So they're doing some right things. But they got to get the tariff thing straightened out, and they got to get the Fed straightened out and themselves straightened out on the need for a stable dollar.
I will keep hammering this statistic. So far this year, we have taken in more tariff revenue than the one big beautiful law cut in annual spending over a 10-year period. It cut about $160 billion, $180 billion thereabouts in tariff revenue, and that's just 11 months of the fiscal year. So that's how feckless these politicians are in terms of just pulling in some of the spending. That's why the revenue is a problem if it goes poof. That's all. That's all I'm saying. We can keep talking about it, but we got a big...
Good economy, good revenue.
Yeah, but again, if the interest rates spike because you take the tariff revenue away, then it's hard to get that good economy.
If the bond markets trusted the dollar, you'd see low interest rates.
Okay.